Hello, and welcome to episode 32 of the Rugged Angel Podcast, where we talk to women who are living their lives out loud. I am your host, Camila, and I am happy to be here with you. Just a little heads up, guys. We are now available on internet radio. You can check us out on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. with replays on Thursdays and Mondays on WMCK.FM. And it's the same interview podcast, but this time I get to add music. So I will be curating music from some of your favorite female musicians. That's something really super to look forward to, and hopefully you guys will all make sure to tune in. And if you're listening on WMCK.FM right now, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. We can also, as always, find regular episodes at RuggedAngel.com, also on SoundCloud and iTunes under Rugged Angel Productions, and Rugged Angel is one word. This episode is with Christina McNeese. She is a comedian slash multimedia performance artist. And I normally do an hour with my interview guests, but this time we had some time constraints. She had some things to do, so it wasn't as long, but I would like to get Christina back on the show and flesh out a full hour because she's a very interesting woman, very funny, very talented. We talk about a lot of things from finding her birth mom to shutting down hecklers to she spits some of her amazing poetry for us. So sit down, get relaxed, and listen in on this awesome conversation with Christina. And if you're tuning in on the internet radio station of WMCK, also be aware that I will be curating. We got some awesome music coming your way for this next 2-hour segment. So without further ado, before I get into that, words of wisdom: stop planting flowers in people's yards who aren't going to water them. Now we can get into the show. Well, welcome, Christina McNeese. Thank you for coming and joining me. Just get you right up in there.
Okay.
You can set your purse down right here if you want.
It's like heavy and shit. Okay.
How is your day going so far?
It is just starting, but it's going pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is good to hear. I'm glad to see that. And how were your holidays?
I'm super not really into the holidays.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, is it for, like
Like
religiously, do you not celebrate Christmas, or are you just, like, not?
I'm just like super not into the materialism of all of it.
Amen.
And I'm not overly religious.
Uh-huh.
And like my mom does a whole lot of Christmas stuff, so my kids like it. So I buy into it and buy some presents. But
Yeah, that was kind of, like, that's how my mom kind of felt about it. Like, she did the Christmas thing when we were children.
right.
Begrudgingly. And it was just like, it's like, I got to do it for my girls or whatever. And now she's like very clear. It's like, y'all grown. And if I don't have to do anything, I would prefer not to.
Yeah, I don't even need a present.
Yeah, and I'm totally cool with that. Like, Mom, I totally respect that. If that's the way you want to roll, we will do that. So are you originally from Pittsburgh?
No, I'm from Chicago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I came here when I was about 10, and I've been here ever since. So I guess I've been here a long time.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, most people are like, oh, if you've been here after X amount of years, you're a Pittsburgher.
so I guess at this point.
Yes. So what area did you grow in?
I still lived in a suburb. I was in Park Forest, which is a suburb in Chicago.
Okay. And when you guys moved here, why did you move to Pittsburgh?
My mom got a new job as doing something here.
Okay.
It was like a promotion.
Okay.
So we came here.
And what area did you move into?
We lived on the north side for a little bit of time, and then we lived in Mount Lebanon for a long time.
Okay. What's Mount Lebanon like?
It's like Where's Waldo, but reversed, where I was the only black person.
Yeah, been there.
Yeah.
So are you an only child? Do you have...
I have an older brother, and then I just found out I have a younger brother. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
just like recently found this out? Or?
Yeah, like within the last, I don't know, maybe 6 or so years, 7 years.
Is he here in Pittsburgh?
No, he is in Chicago.
Okay. Well, what's the dynamic like when you're growing up? What was your...
It was just me and my older brother and my mom and my dad.
Mm-hmm.
I was adopted when I was like 8
Really?
months old or something. Like I was like a little baby.
Mm-hmm.
So then we moved to Pittsburgh, and then I went to like go find my birth mom and found out I had a brother.
Really?
Yeah.
So, wow. Okay. I mean, is that something you're comfortable talking about?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, what prompted you, other than the obvious, I guess, just to find your birth mom, and was it a difficult process?
It took a while because she was like moving around a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but like as technology got better, then it got super easier. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? For like I think it was like $5 or something. I did like a people search.
Okay.
And then found like at least had like her name, so I looked up her name, and then like which is weird because it pretty much like you can find anyone for like $5, which is
I didn't realize that.
yeah, it's creepy. Like it gave me like her last like 3 or 4 known addresses.
Really?
And
for
phone
$5?
numbers. Yeah, and like next of kin, and that's how I found him.
So I guess private detectives aren't a thing anymore with the advent of Google and everything of just the
Yeah.
internet in general.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So how long had you been searching?
I'd like searched off and on for maybe like 5 years, but like it was like not continuous searching. It was like I would look and then be like whatever, and then like go look, and then and I actually I found him maybe a year before I actually said anything because I didn't think it was him, because he's like, and this is gonna sound ridiculous, but like he's like really really fair skin.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, we don't look anything alike, so I don't think that's him. And then, like, after a minute, I was like, he's the only person I've seen with the same name who's, like, still in Chicago. So you should just ask him. And then he was like, yeah, I've been looking for you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you guys were able to connect. Have you met in person yet? Or
No, like, that's the plan for 2016. Like,
Nice.
It's been turmoil and issues and shit, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that happens. Have you met your birth mother?
No,
Or
that's like
talked to her?
she actually, I met her, well, no, I met her over the phone. Like, I met my brother, and like the day I asked him if that was his mom, like, we talked on the phone, and then he gave me her phone number, and I called her, and then she and I started talking for a while, and then like I went to go see her, and like she just like did not show up.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, thanks. And then she didn't talk to me for a couple months.
Ooh.
And then we talked on the phone for a while. And then like that same year she died, like
Oh,
right after Christmas. And I was just
man.
like, well, all right.
Well, I mean, I guess it was a good thing you found her when you did. And,
Yeah.
were you able to have any unanswered questions?
Not
answered
many.
for
Like
you?
it was like, I'll tell you when I see you.
Yeah, gotcha. Wow.
Yeah. But so.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to like connect in person with your brother.
Yeah, we have at least like had we've Skyped at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And
great.
Facebook, once again, technology, like we just video chat.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
Man. Okay, so what was high school like for you here in Pittsburgh? Did you go to high school in Mount Lebanon, being
Yeah.
the only black
Yeah.
girl,
It sucked.
kid? Yeah.
It was horrible.
How did you kind of like, were you like horrible as in it was problematic, or you just kind of felt like an outsider, or were there people?
I was like almost 300 pounds and nerdy and black. So, so it was like, first I was like a nerd with like some friends, and like some people would pick on me. And I had like this small, tiny friend who was like the small white chick, and she would like beat people up who were mean to me.
Oh,
and
wow.
Even though I was 300 pounds, like she would beat people up. But then as I got older, I think maybe like my junior year, like somebody called me a nigger in school,
Boop.
and I just beat her ass in
And
the
as
middle of school.
wow, yeah. Well, ugh. Oh my God.
I was like, what?
Was
I'm
that
already
was that the
angry,
yeah,
bitch,
right? That was the first time in your life that it ever like
Yeah, like it was like literally like the record stopped. Like we were all at lunch, and she was like on some like I took her seat, and it was like one of my friends. It was weird because like she was like the school bully.
Oh.
And she was like, "You took my seat, bitch," and she was like mad at me about because she was mad at a teacher, and I could like see she was taking it out on me, and I was like, "There's no seats. Like we're it's a lunch table."
Right.
At school, like your name's not on anything. And then she said something like, well, oh, you're gonna act like a nigger about it. And I was like, and then my tiny white friend like looked at her and then like moved far out the way.
He was like, no, I got this one.
And I looked at her and she looked at me and she was like, well,
yeah, there you go.
And then I just like got up like, say nigger one more time, and she was like, Nick, and that was it.
And that was well deserved. I mean, there are certain things that you just kind of have to assume that you're going to get your ass whooped for. And calling a black person a nigger, that's one of them.
Right. Especially at an all-white school.
Yeah, that's really going to get... Yeah, she was lucky she walked out of that one all right.
I threw her ass into a salad bar. Like, it was like all the black rage.
Like, I have been quiet and I have been pent up for years, and you are catching everybody's shit. You are getting everybody's. Yes. Oh my God.
Yes. And I went and called my mother myself. Like, the teachers like got me off of her, and they were like, "You have to go to the principal's office," and I stormed my own self because I called my mom. I'm like, "Mom, this bitch called me a nigger at school. And I beat her ass at school, and I'm not apologizing. And I don't really care if I'm in trouble." And she, like, talked to the principal and was like, well, you may do whatever you need to do, but she is in no trouble at all.
Right. Because, that's just one of those things. That's kind of a passing. Like, in my household, I probably would have got my butt whooped if I did not do anything about that. Yeah, like if you so some girl called you a nigger and you didn't whoop her ass.
Right.
Oh, we're gonna have to discuss this.
So, and
wow.
My kids go to that school.
Your children go to? Oh, wait, what? Yeah. Your children go to the same school that you went to? So. So what was it like after you whooped on this girl?
Well, then everybody left me the hell alone. Like, there was no more just random picking on me and having things to say.
About how old were you when this happened?
I was about like 15 or 16.
So everything else was just smooth sailing.
Right. But at that point, I just like hated everyone. You know what I mean? Like, I hated white people at my school because I was too black. And then I hated black people everywhere because I was too white. Oh, yeah. And then anybody who was in authority just like didn't make any sense to me at all. Right.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to my own history, like in high school or just growing up for a long time, because I've always been considered, too black for the white kids, too white for the black kids, and it's just always been like a weird line that I've been trying to cross. And it's I feel like a lot of these kids growing up now have a little bit better just for internet, again, technology, because you can at least find other people outside in the world that's like, all right, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only black girl who likes grunge music and speaks proper. Or, it's just like, so, oh my God. Okay, so is this around the time when you're hating everybody?
Yes.
that you found comedy or poetry?
I really started. I'd always written like little things since I was a kid, and like to like read the sources and stuff and like words, But it was in high school. At that same school, I wrote a paper. We're supposed to write like about anything in motion, and the teacher was like, you could write about like a ball rolling across the ground or something. So I wrote a story about like a runaway slave, and I thought I would like get a C, and I turned it in, and then like the next day, the teacher, and her name is Miss Bates, she made like 35 copies for the entire class, and had me read it for everyone.
Wow, that's wonderful.
And I was like, I like writing.
Yeah, so that was the first thing that you really got your props for.
Yeah, and reading in front of everyone. I like both of those, so I was like, I like that.
And after that, you would journal, or just kind of kept
like I writing? Just started writing, and then I went to college, and I started like, I think school's really boring. I have attention issues, and I just like start doodling and writing, and then by my 20s I was like writing poetry and reading it to people, and they're like, you should like get on a mic and like go to an open mic or something.
Mm-hmm.
So then,
So what was your first open mic?
my first was at the Shadow Lounge.
Woot! Shout out, R.I.P.
Yes.
Shadow.
Justin Strong helped build like a whole
community of people, and you know, it's when I started, it was just like one of the only places here in Pittsburgh that I would go and feel comfortable going at any point, any night of
with
the week.
Your weird blackness.
Yeah,
like,
dressed any kind of way,
right.
really. Like I didn't feel like I needed to be primped up and, you know, all feeling all proper. But, you know, there were nights, yeah, I could go in there and still be like dressed to the nines, and, you know, for the most part, you know at least one person there.
Exactly. You could go by yourself and know someone.
Yeah.
Or go by yourself and know someone by the time you leave.
Right, exactly. And just have a great time.
Yeah.
No matter what. And that's just what that's the biggest thing that I miss about that place. It's such a
everybody's like there's nobody who's been there who's like a family of there that doesn't sigh a little.
Right.
You know?
Every time it's like you mentioned, it's like,
like,
oh, Shadow.
And then people keep trying to replace it and duplicate it.
I know. The closest that I've heard, and I haven't been there yet, but there's a place called Goldmark down the street here in Lawrenceville.
Okay.
And Justin himself has said that it's close to the Shadow vibe, and I haven't been there yet, so I can't speak for that. I don't even know exactly what goes on there.
I don't want to hate on it. Though,
right,
like,
exactly.
Who's hosting that? Because it also depends. Like some of those,
I don't know exactly who's hosting it. So your first open mic was at Shadow.
Yeah.
And this was spoken word that you did?
Yeah. And I was like, that was my first labeling.
Uh-huh.
Like I did like a sexual poem.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like a sex poet for like a year. They're like, oh, you're the sex poet that is. And I was like, no, it's just.
Were you comfortable with that label, or I mean, do you just feel
I just was like, I do write.
I was like, I have more,
stuff, right? Like, but that one, it was like this was like at the Shadow Lounge, like before renovations. Shadow Lounge.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Like couches and books and like 7 people there.
Yeah,
and like friends.
The stage was like, you know, I don't know, like plats from.
Yes, it was just like a mic and get up there. And I didn't know where it was because I've always lived in like predominantly white areas. So like driving to East Liberty, I was like, I didn't know where the hell I was. Yeah. And I got there and it was like him and maybe like, I don't know, 11 of his friends. And they were just like, so you're the one over the phone like who called 80,000 times. You didn't know where you were. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, okay, well, you say you're a poet, so go up there and say something. So I was like, all right. And then I like recited this poem. And then at the end of it, they were just like, their mouths dropped like, because I just was saying some crazy stuff.
It was just like some raunchy.
And it wasn't even just raunchy. It was like, I don't know, like more liberating. It wasn't just like, you know how like some poems are like butt cheeks and grease and oil. And I'm just like, no, that wasn't, you know what I mean? Yes. People were like, I'm a poet. And I'm like,
not really.
You're not.
It's like, I feel like you're just reciting the instructions on the back of a lube.
Right? Yes.
So was that when the bug really bit you? How did you feel performing in front of people?
It was like that. There was that shaky. You know what I mean? Like when you're shaking and your paper's shaking, and but I liked it. It was just really, really nerve-wracking. But then it started to become fun, and I like went to New York because I had a brother. My older brother lived there at the time, and I went to this place called the New Eurekan Poets Cafe, and it's in.
Sounds fabulous.
Awesome. I cuss a lot. I have to work on that. That's one of my 2016
resolutions.
Yeah, I'm like a sailor, but it's like a hole in a wall, but it's like one of those places where just like Renaissance artists of all types just bless this mic all the time.
Yeah,
it's like in the village, and
I love that kind of community. Just that getting that. Like you just kind of like vibing with all these people from all sorts of walks of life and just different mediums.
And that was like a lesson in not listening to people. Like I have my brother's friend who I like had a crush on at the time was like, well, I know you want to come here to New York and like perform, but like people are snobby sometimes, so like don't feel bad like if people don't really dig you or get what you're saying. And I was like, well, whatever, I want to at least like try, you know? So I went. and that night, like somebody proposed to like their wife, their fiance on the
Nice.
stage, like right before I went on. I was like, this is an awesome night. And my brother, who's like very Wall Streetish,
Mhm.
was like not sure how to be in this artistic place, but he was kind of enjoying himself. And then I did this poem, and I was like still shaky, and it was really long. And then by the end of it, like I looked up, and like everybody was standing, and it was like my first standing ovation, and like
That's wonderful.
so many different types of people. Like there was like old, like 70-year-old men in there, and
Wow.
like young women and families, and well, not kids and shit, but and I was like, that was my first, like, I really like this.
And then that was it. That was like, it's on from here
Yeah.
on out. Was it something that you had problems with? Like, I mean, to a certain extent, most of us do, is that worrying about what other people think of you and it's also very, I would imagine poetry has got to be one of the more vulnerable of arts.
Yeah.
To just kind of put your personal words and feelings out there for someone else to listen to and quote unquote judge.
And in that sense, I'm always like, I felt a little bit weird about it. And I try to be very humble about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm not the only one that excels at things. But I always felt like I just have flow. Like I
Mm-hmm.
just have, like my poetry is just awesome. So even if I'm talking about something that's like horrible,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be written in a way that the wording feels right to me, and then it doesn't matter what anybody thinks about it because they can't top me. You know,
Nice.
like it's like a weird, like I actually was had my first heckler like last year, and this guy like was literally booing me like super loud because I was making a joke about child support, and apparently he doesn't like paying child support or didn't want to or whatever, but he was like way at the back of the room booing loud, like so I couldn't talk. And I like was about like my first instinct was to go and beat his
Whoop on him.
ass.
Right.
You know, that was my
Go
first
lay
thought.
hands
Like,
on him.
Somebody hold this mic real quick. But I was like, you know, you can out talk me, but you can't outflow me.
Nice.
And then I just like spit this like 4-minute poem, and like everybody in the room was like, damn. And then he was just quiet, and I was like, now back to what I was saying. And that was the end of it.
Beautiful.
But somebody was like, you as a comedian could have like just roasted him as a comedian, and you didn't have to do that. So.
Well, I mean, either way, he got put in his place, and he got read real quick.
Which he needed, apparently.
So, as a comedian, when did you make the transition?
At the Shadow
At
Lounge.
that Shadow Lounge.
It's crazy. I didn't really think about it, but I was at like another poetry night, and the Shadow Lounge has been open for a long time by now.
Mm-hmm.
And like there was all these dope poets, but like a lot of their poems were like those super serious, depressing, sad, make you want to kill yourself ones. And I was like, so we all don't like commit mass suicide. Like somebody should
So it
tell
doesn't turn
joke.
into a Jim Jones situation.
Yeah, like drink this juice. It's for everybody. We need it. No more problems and hurt after this. So I started telling jokes that night, and then it was really fun. And I was like, I like this even more.
So, and I know that now you host your own night,
Yeah.
poetry,
I'm like,
comedy nights.
yeah.
What is this? I'm sorry, I forget what it's called.
Well, I was doing the 5 Minutes of Fame open mics,
Mm-hmm.
and then I also do comedy shows and podcasts.
And I know you do one that's specifically women.
Well,
Female
I did
comics.
like the Chicksburg.
That's it.
Yeah. I am developing that right now. I like started Chicksburg Comedy, maybe like 3 years ago, and it was because like once I started doing comedy, I started going to open mics around the city, and I realized like it's mainly white men.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, you know, comedy in general, and
Right.
then there's like it's also just a mainly man oriented thing.
Right.
But I didn't like a lot of the jokes.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of racist jokes, there was a lot of sexist jokes, there was a lot of homophobic jokes.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to provide a place where people could come where everyone was included, and that is like outlawed there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I love it. So do you have another one coming scheduled to come up anytime soon?
Well, actually, I'm applying for funding right now because I want to start branching out of just Pittsburgh. Like, I want to do shows here, um, but I feel like there's such a huge world that, like, I would like to get more into traveling more and also, like, into doing online clips or online films, for people, for more people to see. Because, like, my general, it's like, I guess, I don't know about other cities, but it seems like it's like hit or miss here sometimes. Like, in a couple years that I have, like, been doing different shows, I've had some shows that were super successful and then some shows that were super horrible. And I was trying to, like, figure out what I was doing with the ones that were successful so I could, like, duplicate that again and again. But with Pittsburgh, I was also realizing, like, Pittsburgh is also small. So it's like people are only going to come to, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, people start to take for granted all the awesome things that this city provides.
True.
And then it's like, it's $5 to get in. Oh, I didn't know I was gonna have to pay $5.
Yeah,
and
it's like, really? Wow. You're gonna, if you go to the movies, you're gonna drop at least 30. Like,
exactly.
So I mean,
right.
It's entertainment, and you were supporting local artists.
And I've seen, like, even at the Shadow Lounge, like, where Vanessa German and Ezra and Nathan James and Jaquia May and all these different artists would get up and sing and rap and perform, and it was free.
Right.
And people just, like, weren't even acknowledging what they're getting for free. Like, this is Renaissance art. This is like a Harlem Renaissance in Pittsburgh right now.
Because the amount of talent that has come out of, that met up and stemmed from the Shadow Lounge is just, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have gone on to other cities, but there's a vast majority of them that are still here.
Yeah, yeah. And then if they come back, like V, whenever she comes back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think it was Daru recently came back, and he did something down the street at Gus's or something like that.
Jasmine Tate, Bus Crates,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people, basically what we're saying here is don't take local artists for granted. They're not always going to be there.
Yes.
They will
put some money on it.
That's exactly.
At this point, don't complain about paying $5-10 to get into a show. Like, you're gonna spend $5 or $10 at Wendy's. It's something ridiculous that's not even good for you.
Exactly. All right, so I know that you have to go here soon, so I'm going to give you some
and I'm learning from you. This is a very nice setup.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to we have some rapid fire questions here.
Okay.
And let's just get into that.
All right.
Favorite curse word?
Fuck.
What's your life motto?
The more you live, the less you die.
Twitter or Instagram?
Twitter.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Last movie you saw in the theater?
I have no idea. Like The Matrix, the third Matrix or something.
Favorite season?
Summer.
Michael Jackson or Prince?
Shit. I can't.
Both is an acceptable answer.
Both. It has to be both.
Who's the master?
Of what? Is he? That's such a loaded question.
I know. I was looking for a show enough.
Okay. Because I was like, my mind just went to like the master of technology,
right?
The master of. Okay.
You never get tired of
weed.
If I gave you a plane ticket to anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Egypt.
Describe yourself in one word.
Awesome.
And I would agree. So, do you have like something you want to flow for? You want to spit right quick or?
Okay. Like, you want me to do a poem?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This is. Oh, do you want me to do the one that had the mouth drop?
Sure.
I was thinking maybe I should do that. It's not that bad. Okay. It's called.
This is a safe space.
I like this.
Thank you.
I would like to say on the air, Camila, you're awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Just so you know. And she has eyeshadow on. You don't see it right now. I do. Okay, so it's called FYI.
Okay.
Every now and then, a woman wants and needs penetration. I'm irritated, sick of masturbation and quiet contemplation. I want liberation, experimentation, oral stimulation. Wham bam, thank you, man, brothers are not for me. Be all that you can be. Express a desire to bite, caress, and nibble. Can it be that it was all so simple when men acted like men? A common problem amongst women is lack of interest, lack of orgasm, and or poor encounters with the third leg. Make us beg for it, get drenched for it, with muscles clenched for it. We want to adore it, explore it, excite you, but how can we if you won't do your part? We need men with good hearts to help settle scores. Lay us down on the floor sometime after you've wined and dined us. Break out the oils, make us soil ourselves in our own lubrication. Be patient, lick slow. Anything goes is my motto behind closed doors. Leave me sore, but never call me a whore, a bitch, or a hoe, because then you gotta go. Needy men get greedy and not only want to please me, but every femme fatale they see with some big titties, a fat booty, or a foul mouth. You claim you'll go south and never stop. You make it hot, huh? Our views differ. To make clit stiffer, you got to do more than talk the talk and walk that sorry ass walk.
Girl, yes.
Thank you. And they were like, oh.
I love it. I love it. Okay, where can people find you and things that what all the awesome stuff you were doing?
Okay, I have a website. It's ChristinaMcNeese.com.
Okay.
YouTube, it's YouTube Chicksburg Comedy. You can find me on Facebook. Look up Christina Versatile McNeese Chicksburg Comedy. Christina Versatile McNeese. Google that. You'll find me.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
I would love to, next time I'd love to have you back to do we can get more into things and do a little longer when we have a little more time.
Yeah. This was awesome.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.